Hey everyone, it's Tony here with Nerds Never Sleep, and it's time for a special edition Weekly Roundup. This is the time of the week where I usually give you a rundown of all the statues, figures, and collectibles that I covered on the channel in the past week using YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikToks. The reason why this week is a little bit special is because it's another themed week that you guys seem to be really enjoying so much, and to kind of celebrate in the finale of X-Men 97's pretty good run, I'm going to say, I decided to go with an X-Men week. And now this was pretty cool because I did get to show you guys some stuff that you didn't see in the previous X-Men week that I did. So, for those of you who don't know, in my last X-Men themed week, I highlighted majority of Kotobukiya pieces from the Bishojo and the Marvel Now lines. And a lot of those I really liked as well. This week, however, I went to a set that I am insanely passionate about and just super psyched every time I get a new piece. The majority of these pieces this week come from the incredible Iron Studios Sentinel Battle Diorama line, which, with the exception of one, all these pieces come from that line. So I decided to kind of pick some that you might not have seen before. Some I've definitely never covered in short form, at least. Most of these I have actually done unboxing videos for. So if you guys want even more detailed looks at these figures and pieces, check those unboxing videos out as well. That being said, I'm going to go and I'm going to get right into this because there is a lot to cover here. So I started the week off with the one piece that was not part of the Iron Studios line, but a piece that does fit in with them nonetheless. And it goes to, of course, Professor Xavier. Now, he is from the Kotobukiya X-Men animated series line, which was a pretty cool and very small line where they took the animated series characters, obviously, and gave them some pieces. Now, I dig the Professor X in this set, mostly because they used the clear PVC to make it look like his chair was floating. Now, I really like this piece because obviously it looks like he was ripped right out of the cartoon of the animated series, of course. He's got, his hand on his head, using his powers. He's pointing the finger, kind of giving a command to the X-Men, whatever you want to take that as. And he's even got the little blanket on his legs, which is another little added thing that's pretty cool. I really do enjoy it. And I think all in all, it was a solid piece. I can't say it's the best Xavier, but if you are looking to complete that kind of animated series, 90s era aesthetic of your Iron Studios display, and you don't want to spend insane amounts of money on the Professor X from that line, this is definitely a solid option to go. Now, second this week, I covered another piece that actually came out pretty amazing. Of course, it's got to be the Boy Scout himself, the leader of the X-Men, Cyclops. Now, this piece was, again, part of the Iron Studios Sentinel Battle Diorama. And I've had people ask me, why is the base covered in ice? He doesn't have ice powers. Well, it kind of fits into the battle diorama aspect of this. Whereas some of these pieces actually came in another format, which was on a gigantic 2 to 3 foot tall Sentinel, where you had several figures all on that one Sentinel piece. Now, Sentinel Diorama 1 included Cyclops, Beast, Rogue, Wolverine, Iceman, and I believe it was Jubilee. because the only way you could get Jubilee was to do Sentinel Diorama 1. So they had these characters that were exclusive to them. So the explanation for the ice around Cyclops' base is because he and Iceman are actually at the bottom of that Sentinel in the Sentinel 1 display. So I do kind of like that they added some ice effects here, which when you display them as proxy pieces, you put them near Iceman and it all does make sense. The only thing I didn't like about the standalone Cyclops is the lack of an optic blast effect. And that was my one gripe. Other than just kind of out of context, again, the pose and the base do look a little off. But if you understand where the pieces come from, it's not really a big deal. So the way he's standing and stuff like that is meant to look like he's kind of leaping and doing an optic blast at the Sentinel. So it kind of all does make sense, guys. Just don't think too hard about it. But all in all, I think he is a fantastic piece. Iron Studios did an amazing job with every little detail on this piece. Now, next up, I decided to go with some of the ladies of the X-Men because there are some amazing female characters. And what better character to start out with than the Weather Witch herself, Storm. Now, this is another piece that was part of another Sentinel diorama as well. And this one transferred to a solo piece a lot better than Cyclops did, where you have her sitting on a whirlwind here. She's coming out of it, literally. And you've got the books everywhere. You've got debris from the floor of the school, things like that. This piece looks phenomenal. The way her kind of cloak is flowing, the pissed off look on her face, the costume is on point. The pose, everything about this piece is gorgeous. And it just shows how awesome Storm is. Now, I can't really say anything negative about this one or things I'd like to change. As you can see here, I mean, this is amazingly well done, and just all the details again in these pieces bases. That's something I stress a lot in my unboxings. The attention to detail in these bases is phenomenal. So highly recommend Storm. She is an absolute banger and a gorgeous piece. Next up, I went with, for me, he was a little bit more of an obscure one. He was also a character I really didn't need, but the price was right, and it was time to get him. So I'm going with the X-Men's kind of tech genius here. And now I don't mean Beast. Of course, it's Forge. Now, this piece came out so much better than I thought he was going to come out. And I was, even in my unboxing video, I was so pleasantly surprised by this one and very happy in the end that I bought him, because this piece just, it came out phenomenal. Everything from all the hyper details in his guns and his weapons to the costume itself and the base. Again, the base looked phenomenal. The destroyed floors, the pieces of Sentinel, stuff like that coming off of it. Again, and the really cool effect they did that you attach to the gun with the bullet spray and kind of like the trails coming off. It just looks amazing. And again, they did it with his face. His face is perfect. He looks just pissed off. He's ready to fight. The Sentinels are attacking the school. The mutants are attacking the school. Let's freaking go. And I was so pleasantly surprised by this one that, again, I can actually highly, highly recommend him. Whether you're a fan of Forge or not. Again, he's not one of my favorite characters. But the completionist that wanted to build this amazing little diorama and get all these proxy pieces had to get him eventually. Another one I highly, highly recommend. So for the second to last day, I went with one of my favorites. I think one of everyone's favorites. Rogue is the girl. And there's been hate for this piece because of the way they did her face. And personally, I love it because it shows that side of Rogue where she is pissed off and she is in the middle of a battle. And you don't want him to have a happy, cheery face or a static, just standard museum pose looking face. You want it to look like these characters are in a battle. And previously with the last one with Forge, you see that as well. I love the simplicity of the Rogue. She's literally floating over a Sentinel's severed hand, and she's looking like she's ready to knock something out. Now, the reason for that, I'll explain, is because she's actually a part of the Sentinel Diorama 1 as well. And in that piece, she is floating on the Sentinel, punching it in the face. And there's a big chunk of its face ripped off. So it's really, really cool. But her piece also works perfect as a standalone because you can literally make her fly in to punch at anything. In my setup currently, I have her with Gambit, and she's leading the charge at Apocalypse. So it actually works out really well because she's charging to punch Apocalypse. Gambit's throwing his cards over her, and the way it looks together is phenomenal. But not to get in the way my setup is, back to Rogue. They killed it with her. Her pose is very dynamic and it looks amazing. The sculpt on the body is perfect. They gave Rogue all the right assets, so to speak. Everything is on point. The costume looks perfect. The way it all fits. The coat, the way her headband is kind of flowing off to the side. You know, the hair is billowing. And the one thing I want to mention too, because this one you see it a lot too, is the detail of the dirt on the feet and everything on these costumes, which is a cool little touch. Now, I enjoy that. Some people don't like the way it looks. They think it makes the statue look a little bit dirty and whatever. But again, this is pieces depicting a battle. So it definitely works. And again, I am one of the ones in the camp to think that the Rogue looks amazing. I personally love the face, and I think it actually fits the tone of, again, these statues and the theme. So let me know what you guys think of her as well, because I've heard a lot of people gripe about the face, and I just think she is absolutely gorgeous. So to put the bookend on this week, nothing was more suitable to start with Professor X than to end with Magneto, the frenemy of the X-Men throughout all of history. Sometimes he's your most dangerous foe, sometimes he's your best bro. And this piece came out amazing. I cannot stress enough how fantastic this piece looks to me, guys. Sitting, floating above a severed Sentinel head with all the metal ripping apart on it. There's arms out wide. He's using his powers. He's probably just destroying everything in his path right now. This thing looks awesome. The billowing cape out behind him just adds to how badass Magneto looks in this statue. And he is another one who was actually part of a larger Sentinel display as well, which included Gambit and Juggernaut. And they were on a destroyed Sentinel that was coming up out of the ground, almost like Magneto was animating it himself. And that's where this kind of base comes from, where he was hovering over the head of a Sentinel, while Gambit and Juggernaut were battling kind of below it. So there's a reason for that, but again, he transitions into a standalone piece amazingly well. I love the different tones on this statue, from the metallic paint on his helmet to the different shades on the costume itself, down to the dirty edges of the cape. I just absolutely love it. And this is another one where the base is so insanely detailed that you just have to appreciate it. Like I said, the guys over at Iron Studios, I hear everyone talk crap about how these are small pieces, whatever. The amount of detail they shove into these 1/10 scales is amazing. So again, Magneto looks perfect. Now, he does also include an unmasked head, but I have that in my storage cabinet, so I wasn't able to swap it out for you guys. If you do want to check out the unmasked head, go over to the unboxing video that I did. I have both heads on display. In that video, they did a great job on the unmasked face as well. So guys, there was your close look at all of these absolute bangers in the Iron Studios X-Men collection, as well as the Kotobukiya animated series collection. Now, I do have the Professor X from this line. Never unboxed it since the day I got it. I literally bought him on a random whim before I even knew this was going to be a thing. So back then, they had put out Professor X and Mystique, and I thought they were the most random things to put out. I never did manage to get Mystique because I passed on her and regret it to this day, because man, is she expensive to get now on the aftermarket. She's 4 times the price she was at retail, so I still have not managed to pick her up yet. Maybe sometime down the line I will. But I do have Professor X, and he actually lost in the polls to see who you guys wanted me to unbox out of a couple different choices. So eventually we'll get him out and we'll get him in the display. But again, this animated series, Professor X from Kotobukiya, fits in great. He's not as, I guess, dark, because these do have the aesthetic, but they are a little bit darker, a little bit grittier. But he works amazingly well. So I do recommend checking him out if you don't want to pay the exorbitant prices that the resellers are charging for the actual Iron Studios piece. But I typically give you guys my favorite piece that I covered. And this week, they are all in the same price points. Well, Professor X is significantly cheaper. And to be honest, this one's going to be a no-brainer for me. Magneto here takes it all. The presence of this piece, and you can see it just here on the table with everyone else. He has the presence that you expect from Magneto. And again, they did such an amazing job with this one. And all of these pieces, to be honest. But that was my pick of the week. Let me know what your pick of the week was. And what kind of themes you'd like me to do next. Would you like me to do more X-Men stuff? Would you like me to do an MCU week where I do things like cover all the MCU lines? Or would you like me to do more anime theme weeks, things like that? Let me know what you guys want to see next. As far as page updates, there really isn't much. I kind of took it slow this past week and just did mostly live streaming. I've been having, again, a lot of fun with that. And the past weekend, a couple days, prior to recording this, I did record some more videos, but then I ended up getting a sinus infection. Probably why I'm a little sniffly still now in this video as well, but things are clearing up and kind of just fell flat on everything. I didn't live stream. I didn't do any other stuff. So this week, I am back to full bore again. I have some videos already recorded. You all voted on some things. And to let you guys know, Felicia from the Kotobukiya Darkstalkers line in her variant costume got the pick first. So I will be showing her off. And got a couple other things lined up for this week as well that I recorded. Not going to spoil the rest of them. But for those of you who did vote, Felicia will be coming first. And she will be following up this video this week. So stay tuned for that one. And if you guys want to check out anything else or you're interested in other lines, let me know. And I can see what I got for you. So that's going to be it again for this week's Weekly Roundup. My X-Men theme. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys like checking all of these pieces out. If you guys liked the video, of course, click that like button, click that subscribe button, click that share button, spread the nerdiness. Follow on all of these social medias. The link tree is in my description below. And stay tuned for more unboxings, reviews, etc. And come in, hang out on my live streams, because I know I've been slacking this past week because I was sick, but should be back up to things again starting, I'd say, Tuesday, Wednesday. So come in, hang out, chat, talk games with me, and have some fun. But until then, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.